Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament Weekly Broadcast. This is Nightcat, and I will be your host for this week, fresh back from vacation. Thank you so much, Chobo, for covering for me last week. I thought I was going to be able to get a cast out last week, but then it was like the day before I was going to be heading out, or actually the night before. All of a sudden, I just got hit with this wave of being tired, right? So I was just not quite able to get a cast made and put together in time. Chobo was thankfully very much able to step in for me and cover my butt. So thank you once again. But that's enough about me. Let's get to this action here. So this cast, we're doing it a little bit different. I'm going to be doing this as, obviously this isn't live. I haven't done a not live one in a while myself, but also I'm doing this as a one take, so this is going to be without editing. We're just going to load the games right in here, and we're just going to roll with it, pretty much the way that Chobo has been doing his casts, and that Nepeta used to way back in the day. So, we've got ourselves some Zerg versus Zerg action going on here. We've got Marian the Veka going for gas pool in an Evo chamber, and it looks like we've got fresh meat going for the spawning pool here, and a couple of creep colonies looking to get some Sunkens to stay alive. That is certainly something that you can do, is use your static defense to try and stay alive, but you do have to be careful because the DPS from Zerglings can get pretty high pretty quick, depending on the surface area that they're able to get on those Sunkens, and it could definitely cause some problems. But three Sunkens now should be able to handle the initial amount of Zerglings, but Fresh Meat is going to have to balance that pretty carefully as the game progresses to make sure that the Zergling count doesn't get high enough such that it can just overwhelm those static defenses. Going for the lair now, it looks like. So I think Fresh Meat is going to be heading towards that Mutalisk tech. I find it kind of interesting here that Marian Deveka got this evolution chamber too, and is going for a lair here. So looks like they both are, I would guess Mutatech, because there's, you can get, like if you were going Hydras, you could get that Hydra Den while that lair is morphing, or even before it. We do indeed see Mutalisk Spire coming down. We have a second hatchery coming down now for Fresh Meat. The lair complete. See, and this is where I was getting confused, because it got the lair and now it's getting spore colonies and now getting the spire. So Marian is getting that spire a fair bit later than Fresh Meat, but does have the spore colonies rather, so should be safe from Mutalisks. And looks like Marian is spending that larva droning up right now. And we've got the first Mutalisk on the way for Fresh Meat. Got another Mutalisk perhaps. There we go. Now all of the larvae, as they're popping out, getting morphed into Mutalisks here. Gonna go ahead and chase that Overlord that was in the main out. Which, will that cause a supply block? Actually, yeah, that will cause a supply block for Marian, but oh, wow, there were two Overlords over here, so yeah, really bad supply block there. Even with the one that's going to finish now, we're still stuck, so gonna have to get a second one, but really that's just going to delay, I guess, the air a little bit for Marian, as, the Spire is complete. Oh, trying to get take the natural without any defenses, not what you want to see, so this should fall pretty easily. Oh, and actually getting the kill on the building. I thought it was going to be canceled at the last moment, but instead the 300 minerals is just wiped off of the map, the face of the UI for Marian Deveka. Yeah, these spore colonies doing a good job. The Mutalisk's not quite getting any shots to fire off. Meanwhile, now Mutalisks are out. A couple of Mutalisks here chasing down a Zergling. So it looks like Fresh Meat has the ability to have its units work, what's the way I want to phrase it, like independently, and not just all as like one giant army. So that is really cool to see. Another couple of Mutalisks morphing, chasing off some Zerglings. So I imagine that's how these two started to chase Zerglings to begin with as well. Oh, and meanwhile, there was a dive on the drones that I missed. Oh, geez. Let's go back a little bit. And when did this so, okay. The Zerglings are still at the natural. They haven't been chased just yet. And then they just dive in here when there's no Mutalisks or anything, take out one spore colony, And then this is where they got chased out of the main. Oh, geez, and this is around the time that we got back over here and saw what was happening. So just devastating damage here. The two spore colonies not able to deter these Mutalisks from scoring that massive, massive damage on the drones. Very good dive there by Fresh Meat. Just absolutely destroying the economy of Marion Deveka. And now the Zerglings coming in to clean this up. Some Zerglings from Fresh Meat, so very well played there. Excellent dive in. Got a little bit of fighting there behind the minimap. Yeah, just a really, really cool Zerg vs. Zerg here. And with the spawning pool falling, maybe a little bit of issues here getting the Zerglings to actually get to the spawning pool to attack, but it's still enough to win. It's a very good game by Marion. Let's get our second game loaded of the day, which is going to be a Terran vs. Terran. It's actually from the Schnail. This is a ranked game. We've got MMG spawning as the white Terran up at the top left of Circuit Breakers. And we've got our anonymous AI spawning as the purple Terran. And I think this is Brazio? Actually, you know what? I don't know which Terran this is, because the message posted alongside this replay just says human versus AI TVT, so we'll try. I'm not going to try too hard to try and figure out which AI it is, but it is one of the ones off of the Schnail app, which the link is in the description below. If you want to play against the AIs, you do have to play in a 1.16 client. But it does allow you to do your custom hotkeys. So if you've got used to custom hotkeys in Remaster, you know, you can at least bring that back with you to the 1.16 client. Looks like going for a bit of a forward barracks here. We do have a bunker coming down, which that bunker is a little bit reminiscent of Ratio. And here I said I'm not going to try and speculate which AI it is, and here I am speculating which AI it is still. Sorry about that. But see, we've got SCVs on the gas here, waiting to see if some get pulled off. I'm expecting that they will. Oh, gonna keep them on gas, so maybe going for an aggressive multiple factory build here. Yeah, we're at another 100 gas. No, going for an expansion. Okay. They did take one off of gas. Okay. They took one off instead of all of them, but there's the command center going down now at that natural. Meanwhile, our anonymous AI chasing with the gas SCV. Cutting very good corners here to try and, like, that is actually really cool micro to see there. If I just cut it back for just a moment here, so you can see, like, the SCV, if you follow my mouse, cutting those corners really well. I don't think that's just stock, like, attack that unit pathing. That was, I think, some advanced pathing from the AI there. Pretty cool to see on that instant replay. But here we have now a bunker coming down for the human player. Sees that vultures are out. Doesn't have any vultures of its own just yet. They are going ahead though and getting a tank, so, and trying to wall this up just a little bit just to make it tricky for vultures to do any sort of run by action if that is what the AI chooses to do. Moving forward, very forward with this tank. Siege mode is just completing now, so gonna be able to oh wait, did I? Oh, it's not done yet. Sorry. It is on the way, though, for the human player. So the human player is going to try and set up a contain here. Which, if getting a contain in TVT is a very, very good thing if you can do that. Oh, and at the same time, the AI here wanting to move forward. Tanks do kill each other, but the AI is going to be able to break out here. So not quite enough to get the contain on this side of the map, but these bridges are going to be really hard to push against with tanks just sitting right out there, so. This barracks here providing some vision, allowing these tanks to fire at their full length, or full range amount here. Now the AI just going ahead and taking that second base. What the worker count is, does this know? Oh wait, worker count, that's right, it's down here. So human players are actually up on workers compared to the AI at the moment. Got 42 to 32 here, so human player is positioning themselves very well here to succeed. The siege and unsiege is just kind of silly here. Let's see here, we do have some more tanks coming down for MMG to reinforce that, and actually expanding here now. So expanding towards the opponent. There's also an SCV, it looks like, in position to expand up this way as well, though. So gonna get those extra gases. SCV coming down to do, with the tanks here, maybe to do some repair, or I don't know if you can build in that section or not. A lot of newer maps have a lot of restrictions on where buildings can be placed, specifically because Terrans love to throw down supply depots and turrets and things like that along their front lines, just to sort of mess with the targeting of the enemy units. So that's really been cracked down on in newer maps. So there's still some spots you can get away with it, but usually like the middle of the map, you're really not going to be able to do that. Looks like the AI is inching its way forward here with the floating buildings right now, pushing the barracks back. So really trying to cut down on that vision for the human player. Really working its way up to the bridge here now. Supplies, the human player's actually ahead by 10, but it's also... that worker count, though, is starting to fall a little bit here. Still pretty significant, though, about 9 worker difference. Oh, and that tank drove to its doom, basically. Goliath's doing a number on the barracks and the engineering bay here. That barracks needing to be repaired. Meanwhile, so let's see, MMG is on 6 factories, it looks like. And the AI is only on 3 factories, so... the human player, oh, and actually there was a move out here, so this gets cleaned up here by these tanks inching forward, and now they're going to go ahead and move across the bridge here and really get themselves on the other side. So even with the smaller macro capability of the AI just being able to work its way across the bridge here and now inching toward opponent and just using scan even to get that extra vision it needs to get that distance and shot to clear out that tank and Goliath. Very nice there. Now the human player continuing to try and get some sort of like front established here and stymie this flood of tanks that are coming. And this is like pure tank too. There's no there's one vulture, sorry, so it's not quite pure tank, but it's like muscle and a few SCVs for repairs. Like, this tank count is just very, very large for the AI. 14 tanks right now to 6 tanks for the human player. And MMG is getting dropships now, it looks like, recognizing that they might soon be contained. Also double expanding, was trying to expand to this top right, which got stopped by a couple vultures. This top mid is being expanded to, though, having to rebuild that barracks. That's when the tanks were able to break out. They were able to catch that barracks. So now this command center trying to get away. There's a Valkyrie working on it. Now the AI at the bridge of the human player, also expanding over here to the bottom right natural. This top mid expansion has not been caught just yet. More tanks appear to be on the way. Valkyrie science facility being used. If that science facility falls, that could actually be an issue on the upgrades. Which, what are the upgrades right now? Looks like we are at 2-0 for the AI and 2-1 for the human player. Or actually 1-1 for the human player with 2 on the way. So this Wraith plinking away at this tank while the SCV is just busy repairing. So the Wraith's trying to push these back MMG trying to get a turret up to dissuade these Wraiths from causing issues. And enough Wraiths finally taking out that tank there. 2 SCVs not quite able to repair the damage from 4 Wraiths. And those tanks are going to fall that were up on the high ground there. Now the supply difference heavily in favor of the AI. The AI very far ahead in workers now. And now this top middle base getting discovered, being taken out. SCV's being produced up there, but just immediately getting wiped out. Now the human player MMG trying to push across this bridge bit with some vultures, trying to bring in a dropship and see if maybe that will help, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do so. That's one thing when you're playing an AI too versus playing a human Terran. Like, human Terran, they get this contained, they're going to just sit back, set up on it, be doing other stuff. The AI is going to continuously try and push this contain, inch it forward. Like, your front is just constantly going to be dealing with stuff, and it can be very, very taxing on your APM and your ability to multitask here. And now this upper section here, that path being taken control of by the anonymous AI here. There's a few Marines added in the mix too, which is kind of cute. There's just like one tank left here. There's Wraiths in the main harassing the units that are being produced and coming out. We've got Defense Matrix coming down for the AI. It is looking pretty grim for a human player here who will now GG and give the win to the anonymous AI. So very well played by the AI, and also well played by the human player too. They were able to get that initial contain, but then once that contain broke here, they just were not able to ever stop that contain from marching its way up to those bridges, taking this base away. And meanwhile, also, while I've been watching all the action, expansion here, expansion here, expansion here, we saw this one, expansion here going up, expansion here going up. So yeah, the AI definitely took control of this game. Gonna grab a quick drink real quick while we load up game number 3 here. So here we have another human versus AI game. This was a practice game though, so we do see the name of the AI. In this case, it's Crazio, as the red Terran down on the bottom right of Fighting Spirit. And we've got Cinders, who I remember from a lot of Chobo's casts, playing as the yellow protoss down in the bottom right, or sorry, bottom left. Fighting Spirit making its appearance in CPL Season 7. If the Coach People League is anything that you might be interested in, it is a league for players that want to improve, that are, you know, under A rank basically on the remaster ladder. It's a great league. I joined it this year thanks to a tournament that Chobo hosted, actually, where I got stomped. Well, I didn't get stomped. I got kind of far and then got stomped, which just encouraged me to want to get better at the game, and so I joined CPL. It's been a blast. Season 7 is wrapping up though, so you can always get in though on Season 8. If you want, help the community grow and all that fun stuff. But back to this game here, we do have a Nexus, or a fast Nexus. I think that might have been a 14 Nexus from Cinders, which is something that Terrans always tend to hate, right? Because it's just this blind, really fast expansion. But Crazio actually is doing a gasless expand of their own, which is an excellent call here. Cinders really isn't going to be able to pressure this very hard. Crazio is, looks like, getting the last scout on Cinders as well. And we have transfer of probes, perhaps a little bit late as the Nexus is finished, but that's alright. And now we have the scouting SCV from Crazio coming down here. Got a robotics facility coming down, so if I were Terran, I would probably, if I saw that this early with this kind of fast expansion, I'd probably go for Armory and Academy, expecting the possibility of Shuttle and Reaver play. We'll see if a robotics facility comes down. Shuttle is started immediately when that finishes. Good reaction there by the player, and going to go ahead and throw down that robotics facility. So yeah, I would go for Armory Academy probably in this scenario. And get a couple Goliaths with a tank to sort of chase down that shuttle. We'll see if the human player can get some big damage, because there's really no anti-air right now from Crazio. There's no engineering bay, there's no armory. So this could be trouble for the AI here. Second factory, it looks like, coming down here now. And that Reaver is loaded up. Armory just on the way now. And Cinders is letting this shuttle sort of sit, so the window of opportunity for the shuttle Reaver to do some damage is closing kind of quickly here. Second armory on the way as well for those upgrades. I don't know if a starport was made just yet, though. Okay, might have loaded actually a second Reaver or something in it, I think. It sounded like. Now turrets are on the way as well, so yeah, the window for that Reaver to deal its damage, or for those Reavers rather to deal their damage, has pretty much closed here. Oops, oh no, no, what? Hold on. The thing kind of got stuck there on this, the focus for the arrows, and so now dropping the Reavers, going after the supply depots. Because it can't quite get in there to get the SCV, so yeah, trying to just hurt the supply Crazio. Crazio is now supply blocked and cannot produce more army. And the tank's coming in. Will this factory be saved? Ooh, just barely gets saved there, so very nice. Play by Cinders, just dealing some harassment and some damage. Maybe a little bit happened here up front, but that shuttle going back in there into the main now. Drop gonna take out this armory before the upgrade can finish. Ooh, that's the shuttle getting taken out. Now the Reavers here trying to target the SCVs. Gonna get finished up by this Wraith here, but a lot of damage in the main was done there by Cinders. But even with that damage, Crazio is still looking pretty okay. I mean, it was mainly... So an upgrade got stopped, a large block of supply got destroyed. This left side of the base, though, is still kind of open. The Wraiths sort of patrolling it and patrolling back up to the natural, so they're just making sure that everything is okay. Cinder's coming in here now with a chunk of Dragoons and Zealots. The Zealots trying to get on top of the tanks here. But there is a tank on high ground, but there's just not a lot here. The Dragoons get cleaned up, but there's just so many Zealots rushing in here. That bunker is going to fall. Zealots getting up into the main... Oh, that mine taking out a lot of units there of Crazio, actually. And now these 3 Dragoons with the pushing back that army, the Zealots, allow these Dragoons to sort of find a spot where they can force this natural to be abandoned. And the very aggressive play from the Protoss is really paying off here. Oh no, there's a whole bunch of vultures and tanks that want to get down there, but they can't because of the ramp. And that's going to cause a lot of problems here. It's actually delaying this natural from getting back up, allowing more reinforcements from Cinders to get in here. And really, the more Cinders can just get into this little corner, the longer this ramp is going to be blocked from the bigger units here from Crazio. And there that tank does finally get to move and sort of open up this ramp here. And finally that little bit there is cleared out, but now we've got another pack of units from the Protoss here charging into this natural. Crazio finally getting some control outside the natural. Cinders having to sit back a little bit here now. Another round of units. A really good gateway count going on here. Up in that gateway count some more. Crazio up to 5 factories it looks like now. Now Crazio trying to move out here. What are the upgrades at? The upgrades are... just at 1-1, trying to get that +2 attack. So maybe moving out a little prematurely here. Cinder's jumping on this attack, trying to break it. A few tanks do fall, but there's still enough to sort of push forward here. Cinder's trying to jump on this attack again, but again, it's looking like Crazio is able to repel that, picking off the observers now. Cinder's trying to keep some units outside of the natural, so that way the entire army isn't stuck there. Probably going to try and pounce on Crazio's army here. Crazio, meanwhile, going ahead, taking a third down in the bottom. 6 o'clock base. Yeah, Cinder's just setting up to sort of pincer in on this with units from the natural and units from the top, from up left of the natural. Now trying to pounce here. Trying to keep that natural nexus alive. There may be just enough to push this attack back. Just barely repelling it. And now Protoss on the march here. Protoss really needs to take a 4th base as well. Given that the Terran is going up onto their 3rd, and they are going to be equal bases here pretty soon. Crazio now with that push dispelled, going ahead around the map, laying down vulture mines to keep tabs on everything. Cinders with their army. I don't know if this army was just kind of like being led around by the vultures or what, but the vultures are kind of cleaning this up a little bit here. Doing some serious damage on the zealots and everything, and Cinders may just be checking for bases too, and that nice little mine shot there almost killing both of those. Ooh, and that mine getting let out as well. But now we've got another push here by Crazio, making it all the way to the natural. The probe's getting cleaned up here. Just 27 workers for Cinders. Very, very low amount of workers here. And yeah, Crazio going ahead and taking a 4th base as well over at the 3 o'clock. So Crazio is just very much taking control of this game. Continuing to engage with small armies, though, is giving Protoss the opportunity to repel those attacks, but the natural nexus does fall in this push. And so with that, it is not looking too good here for Cinders. Cinders, though, gonna be able to repel this again, I think. But there's just so much. This minefield is... There's just so many mines there. Why are there so many mines? I feel like one zealot could just run through that. Like, I mean, there's a good spread of mines too, so... There's just so many vultures that get produced by Crazio that... It's just able to utilize all of those. Now Crazio again positioning at this bridge. Cinder's just on 2 bases to Crazio's 4. How many? 59, 60 workers here for Crazio. So Crazio is starting to get towards those end game worker counts here. And now Cinder's trying to squash this attack here at the natural, but I think this time they're... well, with this round of reinforcements from the main, might be able to push this back. There's some more reinforcements coming in, though, for Crazio. Now, Crazio able to unsiege the tanks to clean up those zealots, and with that, the AI will take another win from the humans. Very well played game, though, by Cinders. Really had Crazio on the ropes early on with that Reaver shuttle play there, and with the Dragoons going up into the main, but... Crazio able to withstand it and take this game pretty far and take the win, actually. Let's go ahead and get game 4 up here. We've got Monster versus Crazio. So Monster spawning as the yellow Zerg at the 12 o'clock of Python. Actually, I guess that's like the 1 o'clock maybe? Oh, either way, it's the top base. And in the bottom base, we have Crazio spawning as the purple Terran. Gonna grab a quick drink here. You know, Python actually is a map that I don't think I've seen in a good while. I mean, it's not generally not played in human leagues anymore. There definitely are issues with it, I think, as a map, but you know, it's one of the old classics. It's still used in the AI scene today. And it's actually really hard to get a lot of the newer maps into the AI scene too, because the AIs have to play in a 1.16 client, and so a lot of the maps that are made are not these days are not compatible with 1.16, and so you actually have to make little changes to the map, and so it might not behave 100% like a remastered map. I have seen some chatter that, you know, Polypoid might be able to make it into 1.16. It would be really, really cool if it could. I feel like Polypoid is a bit like an updated Fighting Spirit, so would really love to see that one make it into 1.16 for the AIs to be able to play on. Now we do have natural up here for Monster. Crazio looks to be going bio here, but I don't think Crazio does SK style. I think Crazio does mix in tanks. Here we have the Sunken coming down for Monster. Circling's up, and again, this Sunken, you know, by the AI, prematurely morphed here. Doesn't need it yet. There's no threat coming towards Monster, but it's also just easier to, from a like management perspective, just get the stinking Sunken. Don't worry about, you know, well, are they actually coming for me? Are they moving out, or what are they doing? Like, all that's not easy to code into an AI. It would be better play to wait, but I can understand why the AIs do it, is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm not really giving flack or trying to give flack to the authors for the choices that they've made in their designs, right? Because that's something that you have to consider when you're doing an AI. And a lot of the times people come into the Discord and be like, well, why don't the AI just do this? And it's like, well, there's a trade-off. It takes time to develop this, right? And then this might not work, and then this might break other things, and really this only is for a very specific situation. You know, and sometimes it's like a late game situation too, and it's like an AI is going to see a lot more improvement with the author spending time on something a lot more general and less specific, or, you know, if it's something a bit earlier in the game, you know, they could see a lot more benefits to be worked on than something that's later game. Now we do have this move out happening here from Crazio, heading up towards Monster across the middle of the map here. Mutalisks are out for Monster though. That poor Marine said hi Mutalisks and then immediately died. There are 4 Sunkens here, and here is a tank. If siege mode is done, so this tank could, and is getting some shots off here. And 1 Sunken does fall. The Mutalisks trying to come in here. It looks like they are targeting the Marines though, and not the tanks. The Mutalisks a little bit afraid to engage. Actually, the Mutalisk wall looking to see if it can do something here at the Terran base. Those barracks are pretty exposed here, but the mineral line is pretty well protected by the turrets. Now we do have a push coming in here from Crazio. The Mutalisks are at the main, so there's not a whole lot to defend against this. The Sunkens fall. The drones burrow. And the SCVs repairing are actually doing a bit more repair than the smaller Mutalisk Cloud could handle, but while the Sunkens were able to be broken here, the Mutalisk Cloud returns and is able to save this natural, maybe, though the hatchery is so low, but it was able to be saved here for the moment, as there are actually reinforcements from Crazio coming in. Now there's a Goliath in the mix here, being repaired by the SCVs. And the natural ends up falling in the end, so very nice reinforcement wave here by Crazio. And Crazio gonna take up position in this natural. The burrow drones, though, still safe for now. Scan going down to repel the lurker. Does cause some of the drones to get caught, and then the drones ultimately get unburrowed and cleaned up by Crazio. There is a base here at the top left that hasn't been discovered just yet by Crazio though, so monster not exactly on 0 or on 1 base, but 2 base Zerg is not where you want to be unless you're the Terran player, and 2 base Zerg is exactly what you want to be dealing with. And now the main though, there's just no defenses here. There's Mutalist Clouds sort of scattered through the middle. There's Zergling here. But all that needs to actually be home is we're already up to Hive Tech for Monster, but it's getting smashed here by Crazio. And so I think this game is pretty much all but over. Or, well, it's all over, I mean, pretty much. Now there's just the top left. There's also this base here, but it's just a hatchery. It's gonna get cleaned up. Actually, that got found before top left. That's kind of funny. And Monster, I think, lost the Mutalisks, recognizes that the game is over, is gonna go ahead and give the game to Crazio. So with that, Crazio wins, and I apologize, this might actually be a little bit shorter of a cast than I thought it was going to be, as we do have one more game, and I thought this one would be a fun one for us to end on, as it's on a fastest possible map, which was added to the Snail client. I'm not sure if all of the bots that support it, Crazio might be the only one right now, but we have Crazio spawning as the green Terran at the 12 o'clock base, and now we have Light spawning as the purple Zerg down at the, like, what would that be, like 5 o'clock base? 4 o'clock? Yeah, 4 or 5? Something like that. Bottom right base. And so I've not watched any of the fastest possible map replays yet from the Snail client, so pretty excited to see this. I know because I tinkered with fastest possible map a little bit on my own, or with my own bot, and that sort of encouraged Crazio to experiment with fastest possible maps as well. It's something that has been in demand a bit at the Snail client, so it should be pretty exciting to see. We've got 3 SCVs going out. Actually, okay, no, just 2 going out to scout. One going out to scout. One is throwing down a bunker, and I think this one might have been checking for some proxies just to make sure that there's no funny shenanigans going on in the base. Light is throwing down the hatcheries that they need to, throwing down their spawning pole. I'm a little less familiar with fastest possible map strategies, so I don't know that I can comment necessarily on the overall strategies that we might see employed. I would imagine Bio would be possibly a lot stronger with AI control, because one of the tricky things with Bio in general with this game is that it's such a short macro window for when your units will finish, and you'd have to go back and macro, that in fastest in particular too, like, it can be hard to support a large number of barracks, and then you're moving your bioforce around and everything, but an AI doesn't have those multitasking issues. So excited to see how Crazio plays here and how well it works. The money for Crazio is building up here. We're at 24 workers to Light's 28 workers. Got the funky Terran music going as well. Crazio's supply actually kind of building up here. Could probably just throw down a bunch more barracks too. I would actually almost encourage Crazio. You know what? If you're gonna work on this build at all, slam down like 5 barracks. Like, there's no reason to just have 2. I feel. But yeah, it is getting the money under control now that the factory is up, the machine shop is up, so Looks like they are doing a bit of a move out here, but there are 4 Sunkens that are going to be able to defend. Trying to throw down some more creep colonies, but doing so a little bit too forward. Actually, the Marines could fire on it, but... And now we have a siege tank out. It looks like Hydralisks are on the way. Got a lot of Hydralisks producing here, but it might be a little too late. Really depends on how the engagements go here. As Crazio is shelling down this this front here. Getting some shots on the hatcheries. We've got some more Hydralisks on the way. Another tank joining the party here. And now the Hydralisks are trying to pounce here. They are working their ways to the tanks. There may just be too many of them. The tanks now getting blown up here by the Hydralisks. And now Light feeling comfortable coming out with their Hydralisks. Here we have the second front of Crazio being under siege, but not a full commitment from Light. And so Crazio able to repel it pretty easily. Crazio even expanding here to another base. But now we have this Hydralisk pusher making it all the way to the bunker, taking the bunker out. Yeah, just Crazio able to gain a little bit of footing, but then the Hydralisk's just able to take out a couple of the tanks, but Crazio is holding about the middle of the map pretty well. Looks like a few more drones being produced and rallied up to the front here. What are the upgrades right now for the players? Looks like 3 is on the way for the Zerg player. So many hatcheries being thrown down by the Zerg player too. One of the limiting things on fastest possible map for Zerg is the larva count, and it looks like Ultralisks are starting to come out here. It's gonna try and use Ultralisks against this mech here, but yeah, so many hatcheries coming down for the Zerg player. Yeah, the Ultralisk's just melting to the tanks, to all the mech. Actually pushing back though a bit now. The tank staying unsieged here. The Zergling Ultralisk able to push it back out of the choke here, but we'll see if this pressure can keep up, if these units can keep finishing up and coming out here. Light might actually be able to push this back to Crazio. Dropship being loaded up here. And yeah, Light's the reinforcements from Light just able to push this back. More units flooding out here for them. Again, what are the upgrades? Plating almost 3-3 for Crazio's mech, but yeah, there's just like so much here. Grazio's money is floating rather high. Yeah, very low on production facilities. I think that's going to be what costs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, well, actually, there's a lot of barracks over here now at the second base that they took. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what Crazio could have done different to win this, but holy heck. The way the production queue keeps looking, so many Zerglings, so many other things, and the light is just, you know, continuing to try and stream these units in. Crazio getting a brief moment here of reprieve, but now the next wave is already coming in for light. And just wow. It's the overwhelming number. Light able to hold on, get those hatcheries up, and just utilizing that larva to the fullest. All these units here. Some mines cleaning some things up, but now the other bases for Crazio being found, being cleaned up by Light. Very exciting game here from this. I think it's going to be a blast to see more fastest games on the Snail client. It definitely, there is a scene for the fastest possible map, and for one-on-ones on it, and things like that. So it'll be exciting to see what kind of games we get, and if authors will, you know, work on fastest possible map strategies more, and you know what we can see AI do. I'm just imagining like an AI-controlled storm drop, wiping out all your workers while there's just a huge push happening that's perfectly microed at your front. Like, really, really excited to see what could come in the future here, especially with some of the other AI tournaments, you know, sort of wrapping up in terms of the work phase and everything. I think there's one though that people are working on currently, Smith, but I can't quite think of what it is off the top of my head. Might be the I think it might be Dave Churchill's tournament, but I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, and this is unedited, so that's this is what you're getting. Let me see. Let me just take a look at it real quick. I think it is not COG. COG finished up. What is it called? Is it the AIIDE? Yeah, AIIDE is what it, for some reason I was thinking it wasn't AIIDE, but I think that's what everybody's currently working on. But with that, we're going to end on this fun, fastest possible map match here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun just doing this rapid fire game after game. No editing. One take Nightcat here. We did it, not live, but sort of live, like the meme. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all so much for spending your Sunday here with us each Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We really appreciate y'all being here and the support. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Until next time, take care, everyone.